Hello, I'm Karen Clawson with Mid-America Regional Council, and this is Community Conversations for a Healthy Environment. We're updating the regional plan to reduce emissions, and we're talking with leaders about their work in this area, their impact, and their vision for the future. Today, we have Jay Jones with More Squared and Pastor Antoine Lee from Central Christian Church in Kansas City. Welcome to Community Conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you.
Great. So the two of you are working on a very special project. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on and how it came to be?
So we're working on a project that the EPA funded. It's called the Environmental Action Hub. So I was tasked with looking for a faith-based church in our community who was kind of tied around environmental justice. And I got sent towards Pastor Antoine Lee, and I heard that he's been ringing the alarm for environmental justice for a long time in the community, and we built a relationship. And he actually decided to accept our proposition of hosting our environmental action hub at his church. He can tell you a little bit more how he got involved.
Yeah, so my church is located in the urban core of Kansas City in the most impoverished area of our city. And, when you go to our church, you can't get to our church without passing through vacant houses, dilapidated properties, neglected lots, proliferation of trash. And it's almost as though people kind of have turned a blind eye to it, to where they don't even see it anymore because it's so pervasive. But I see it. I see it as I actually live in the same district where I pastor. And, I'm a human being. I like nice aesthetics. I like to be able to walk. I want to be able to feel safe in my neighborhood. I like clean air. I want to know that my water's clean, and so as I was, just looking at the depravity of what was happening in my community, I just started to say, hey, listen, this is not right. There's something wrong about this. There's an injustice here. Then I started to just, survey different. When I say survey, I started just look at different communities, and I would see potholes that hadn't been fixed in years. I would see streets that hadn't been paved in years. I would see manholes that's left open for children to fall in. I would see hazards everywhere. And I just start saying things about, like, wait a minute, this is disrespectful, and this is why, and it has so many other tenets to it. Like, for example, people want people to get involved in the political process, for example, and they want people to vote. But if people doesn't feel like their environment is being taken care of, and that the municipality or the government or those who are in charge to use the tax dollars for the benefit of the whole are not really doing that, they're more apt not to vote, not to take part in the political process. And so how our environment looks, uh, where we live, was important to me, and it sends a message to the personal pride of the residents that live in the urban core. And so I started posting some videos and didn't know where they were going to go. I did get some results. I can tell you a couple things that happened as a result of those things. But then a few years down the line, the Biden administration put out this Environmental Protection Agency initiative to bring up environmental justice issues that are happening all over our country. That's how Moore Square got involved, and that's how I met Jay.
That's great. So you've talked a little bit about kind of what you've seen in your community from your perspective. What are you hearing from the residents? What kind of concerns and issues have they been bringing to you at the Environmental Hub?
It's really sad, Karen, because if 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 you've been living on the margins of society for so long, you develop this apathy because you don't think that you're ever going to be empowered to change, or that those who are empowered to make a difference don't care enough to make changes for your best interests. And so there are a lot of people who kind of take the attitude is this is how it is around here. This is how they treat us. The they have to do with the officials that have the power to mobilize change that seemingly always are able to obligate or re-obligate monies to other projects over that in which exists within the poorest communities in the urban core. And so they kind of feel like, you know, we're poor people, and we're just trying to survive. We're just trying to raise our families. We're trying to send them to school and let them get the best education as they can, trying to make ends meet. We've lost our fight. We don't have, the energy and the fortitude to keep on fighting battles that really we shouldn't have to fight. And I think that's the mentality of most people. They are waiting to see something done before they feel like they can impact, or their input can make an impact.
Right.
So yeah. So the neighbors, the people that are aware of these issues and that are concerned about these issues, that take an interest in them, mostly are already activists. They're social activists. They're people that work for non-for-profit organizations that's trying to contribute to the common good. And they are already at the table in terms of trying to make things better. But the average resident, they're just trying to survive. They look toward the leaders of the community to do right by them. And I think that that's fair. I think that those of us who have been left in charge or have been given stewardship over exercising goodwill in the community ought to be working in the best interest of the residents so that they can go to work and their kids can go to school and they can, do the things that they need to do on a daily basis without having to worry about all of these extra things that other communities and other people don't seem to have to be worried about.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So how will the environmental hub support sort of the average resident in your community? What kind of resources do you think will be available to them?
So when we talk about the hub, it's kind of like our taglines is four tags, is educate, empower, connect, and change. So what we want to do is, from the educational standpoint, we want to learn from elected officials. We want to learn from each other on these environmental issues that we all face. From the empowerment standpoint, at the end of the day, our hub, what we want to do is build the next generation of community leaders, through the things that we're doing here at the Environmental Action Hub. When you think about connecting, we want to connect with certain resources of folks who's working in the environmental justice space. So, like Metropolitan Energy Center, and how could we connect the residents to their home energy program, connecting with Evergy. How can we get residents to connect to their thermostat program and stuff like that? So I think, well, we know if we're able to do all three of those, that last tagline is change. We'll be able to change and transform our community by using our voice. So that's what we really hope for residents to get out our Environmental Action Hub, is to be educated, to come and be empowered, to connect with folks in our community, in our neighborhood. And like I said, if we do all three of those, that next part is change. And that's what we're looking forward to the most.
And the magic about the hub is that you're going to be able to access a multitude of services in one location. So if you are having concerns about your utility in terms of your energy or your light bill or something like that, or you heard about an incentive that they have, you have to go to the light company, right? And what if you heard about another initiative where there may be some trees, you could get a tree planted for free. You know what I mean? That they would come to your neighborhood and you would have to go to maybe perhaps Bridging the Gap to do something like that. Well, the hub is going to have all that in one location in terms of the information that will be coming out of a lot of these para organizations or these partnerships that we are creating with these other environmental friendly institutions. And the church has always been historically a welcoming space for people in the community. People know that the church has always served as a place of refuge. The church is a place that we love to promote humanity. We want human, beings to thrive. And so people feel a little less intimidated, right? And they know that they're probably going to get a certain kind of customer service, if you will, once they enter into the church door. So it's a win-win in that respect for people who feel at ease at coming into the church doors.
Great. How do you see the hub evolving over time?
I hope, and I'll let Jay jump in here, I hope that the hub is going to mushroom because, for example, there are a lot of environmental issues that are being taken care of by 311. All right, 311 is our local municipalities initiative to be able to field the questions that are not emergency, non-emergency responses. But here, even with that, most people don't know all the services that are available to them through 311. So we kind of see the hub as being a hub, kind of sort of like a 311 plus, where people are going to be able to get a multitude of information or responses in terms of some of the concerns that they have. Potholes where they don't need to be or that needs to be covered, tree limbs that need to be trimmed, low-hanging wiring, you know what I mean? Electricity, so forth and so on. I had just me and Jay and I was at the hub one day, witnessed a person run and what did he hit our street
light,
and it fell down, right in the crosswalk where kids could be, that could have been live, electricity, stuff like that. So we were able to remedy that because we had the resources. We knew exactly who to call. We knew exactly what to do to get that remedy. Jay, do you know that somebody hit it after that and did the same thing?
Wow.
So the first time you saw it, it happened again. But the poll, it's up again. It's up.
So we just got money to just spend on putting lights back up.
But yeah, we see mushrooming. I hope, Karen, that the hub is just the first of many.
Yeah.
I hope that model is replicated throughout our city. I know we do have another hub. Is it in Tennessee? Jay, where's the other?
You talking about our environmental action hubs, our environmental hub? So with our Gamaliel affiliate, it's three other affiliates who have hubs: St. Louis, Illinois, and Milwaukee. So we're one of the sub grantors of a EPA grant from the Gamaliel network. So our hub is at a place where we think that it needs to be right now. So what I see the future of the hub is like everything Pastor Lee just said, but I also want to create leaders again. At the end of the day, like if building power is about people understanding their self-interest and taking action with certain issues, and with the hub, I hope we can really build people up so they know that your voice can change. Your voice can help change stuff and transform our community.
That's great. So with the hub helping sort of empower residents and giving them the resources they need to create kind of a more healthy and safe environment today, how do you see the hub supporting kind of that long-term community strength and readiness for the future and readiness for any extreme weather events that we might have in the future?
Yeah, I've heard of several initiatives. Like for example, we've had a lot of extreme weather here lately, and I know we need, and the terminology leaves me right now, but I know we need spaces of refuge. What do you call those? Mm.
Like resilience hubs?
Resilience, thank
Yeah.
you. Resilience space, right? And so what it's doing is it's helping us understand where those resilient spaces are, right? So the community would know where those resilient spaces are and how to respond in extreme weather. Last year we had a lot of heat waves that hit Kansas City, and there were a lot of fans that were given out, right? And then people were also needing spaces, right, to come and cool off, cooling spaces, things of that nature.
Mhm.
And so once we can sort of establish, with the community, what's available at the hub, where all of these sort of friendly places of refuge are, I think it just make for a better community overall, where the people, it will be common knowledge that if you get too hot, you don't have to, suffer a heat stroke, or you don't have to be hospitalized. There are places within your own community where you can go and you can get that kind of relief. All right. There are resources within the community where you can get a fan, for example, in a bad heat situation. There's warming centers you can go in case of extreme. So we need to know these things. All of this stuff makes for better living, right?
Mhm.
It actually increases years to our lives when we feel as though we have resources, we have help, we have a community that is. If we need food, there's some place that we can go. If we need shelter, there's some place we can go. So I think overall, when we look at long term, what this hub is going to do is going to inform residents, and it's going to help them understand that their quality of life can be increased and a lot better as we are providing, as they know about these resources.
Great. Do you think the community, the residents in your communities, will be able to shape what that future looks like for the hub so it addresses their needs?
I hope so. And I think we grow when we engage in the community. I think what has happened to us is historically people have told us what we need.
Mhm.
Well, hopefully the reverse will take place. Well, we will provide some services and then listen to the community and let them tell us what they need. All right. Because to us, it's a
Mhm.
reciprocal conversation. We're providing information. We're trying to help people understand the importance of having a clean and a viable environment and how that improves the quality of life. Hopefully, we will get the feedback from the community to tell us what that looks like for them.
Great. That's great. So as you move forward with all of this work, what inspires you to kind of keep it going? What inspires you personally to do this type of work?
Well, me personally, I grew up in the third district, so my grandmother, house was right there off 27th and Askew, and you know, I just remember so much, growing up over there in that area, and I haven't lived there in years. I haven't lived in that area, but to work in that area and just see like the potential, and and just see like if people over there on this side of town understand that their voice is power, it's so much things that can change over there on the east side, and I got hope. I got hope. And what inspires me the most is when I could, build a relationship with a pastor, Antoine Lee, and be motivated, and feel his energy, and be able to soak that in as a sponge, but also go out in the community and be that same sponge to the community. That's why I think, what's important, amplifying people's stories, giving people a space to come and share their story so they can connect. Like, oh, you had that issue? Well, I have that issue too. And it's like, so now it's the accountability standpoint, as an organizer. So what are you going to do about it? So I can push on people to say that are you going to continue to live in those conditions? Because I really believe, that we owe it to our next generation to get involved with these environmental movements, because if you're not aware of certain things, you're not going to understand the impact of certain things.
That's great.
I
So
listen.
I keep going. I keep pushing for change, for sure.
Yeah,
Great.
I work in the urban core. I work in the third district where my church is located, where the church where our pastor is located. I live there. You know, I can't go home or work without. I want to be able to get quality produce in my neighborhood. I want to be able to walk my dog in my neighborhood. I want to be able to go drink a cup of coffee with my friend in a nice and clean environment, and I want to feel safe in my own neighborhood. I want to be able to live my life and flourish in my own. I don't want to have to feel like I have to go to someone else's community to get a breath, a breather, to feel like I have a quality of life that, quite frankly, I'm borrowing from somebody else's energy and somebody else's effort.
Mm.
I want to be able to do that right here where I live. So I'm motivated every single day to improve my environment. Now, okay, I'm not trapped. God has blessed me with the resources to where I can actually pick up and move out of my neighborhood. But that pains me to have to think that I have to move out of my neighborhood. So why don't I bring the services, the awareness, the empowerment, the connectivity to my neighborhood so we can all be proud to say, hey, this is where we live. Okay, and we are stewards of this, and we take care of this, and we ensure that the seniors in our neighborhood have what they need to thrive, and that the young people in our neighborhood have what they need to thrive, and the working class people who go to work every day have what they need to thrive and feel pride, to feel the
Mhm.
pride that anyone should feel when they live in a particular geographical space. That's what I'm motivated. That's why I'm motivated to make sure that what I see every day is something that I can be proud of.
Great. Your communities are lucky to have you both.
Yeah.
One last question for you. So, as a community resident in the third district or beyond, how will they find out about your environmental hub?
So we've been doing a little bit of advertising. We have our first actual event this Saturday, May 3rd at 10 o'clock at the church, 3801 East Linwood Boulevard, KCMO 64128. And what we really want is to connect with partners like MARC, City of Kansas City, to help endorse, what we're doing here at the club. At the hub. So we can, just keep growing it.
Great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so
Well,
this Saturday we're having just a little bit more color on it. We're having a forum where we're going to talk about a multitude of issues around the subject matter of environmental injustice.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things that's on the menu there. Talk about illegal dumping is one of those things. Uh, Gas leaks that have been in our community for years and nobody said anything about it. Underground springs that's causing our roads to buckle up and creating hazards on the roads is an issue. Then we have a Brush Creek issue that's a Kansas City issue that we all need to look at because it's evident. It's a very blatant display of an environmental justice issue that we're all grappling with here in Kansas City. So there's a lot of things on the menu, a lot of things that we're going to discuss on this coming Saturday, and that's just one way of getting the word out and trying to galvanize the community so that they can wrap their heads around this issue.
great. Well, thank you both so much for sharing your story, joining us today. I think the work that you're doing is really important, and I think a lot of people would be interested in how that can be replicated throughout the region, especially in areas that are facing similar situations. So for those of you interested in learning more, you can contact Jade Jones at More Squared or Pastor Antoine Lee at Central Christian Church in Kansas City. If you're interested in learning about our plan update at Mid-America Regional Council and how you can be involved, you can visit kcmetroclimateplan.org. Again, I'm Karen Clawson with Mid-America Regional Council. Stay tuned for our next community conversations coming soon. Who knows, maybe you'll be our next community leader.